did you know you can heal every cell, organ, tissue, and system in your body simultaneously? In fact, that's the only way that you can heal them, is in unison all together. I know it sounds hard to believe, but health doesn't have to be complicated, overwhelming, or expensive to get rapid, safe, and permanent results. And I know it sounds crazy because we've heard it takes forever, costs lots of money, and you must take tons of supplements. Today, I'm going to show you how to get even better results in less time while improving your health like never before. And pay attention, because what you'll learn today is going to be powerful. And you'll learn how Faisal lost 19 pounds and no longer has bloating or hot flashes in 6 weeks. She literally looks like her daughter in this picture because of the transformation that took place. You'll learn how Suk lost 66.2 pounds, got off of his diabetes and blood pressure medications in 10 weeks. You'll learn how Michael stopped taking 10 Tylenol per day, lost 58.4 pounds, all in 10 weeks, all without supplements, lab testing, or intense exercise.
On your computer or smartphone, if you make a spelling error, your spell check system will let you know, and it can even correct your error. Now, that's a great tool, isn't it? Imagine if your body had a way to identify a physical problem or illness, alert you to that problem or illness, and then heal it. That would be wonderful too, wouldn't it? Now, the good news is, no, make that the great news is, your body can do all that and even more. You just need to know how you can fully activate it so it works to its full potential, and then you can heal yourself. Let me repeat that. You heal yourself. This includes losing weight, sleeping even better, reducing inflammation, reducing your blood pressure, and healing your digestive system, plus many other physical challenges you might now face. This is actually the trillion-dollar health secret that many medical professionals don't even want you to know about. That this ability that you have right now can be enhanced and accelerated when you have the information that Sachin Patel is going to share with you in this 10-minute talk. Now, Sachin is convinced that the doctor of the future is the patient. In this case, that's you. Sachin is a functional medicine practitioner, coach, author, and speaker. He founded the Living Proof Institute, through which he pioneered a revolutionary approach to patient-centered healthcare. He coaches hundreds of practitioners around the world to deliver affordable and inspired care to their communities through the Perfect Practice mentorship. In addition, his foundation helps fund healthcare clinics, orphanages, and schools in underserved areas. He's transforming the healthcare paradigm and has devoted his life to the betterment of healthcare for both patients and practitioners. In this message, he's going to share his best tips to optimize your health without drugs, without supplements or lab testing. His title is You Are the Doctor of the Future: 6 Ways to Activate Your Inner Healer. Please help me in welcoming Sachin Patel.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate the introduction, and hello to my fellow Genius Network members. Big hugs and big kisses to all of you. So as Tim mentioned, my title of my talk is You Are the Doctor of the Future, and I'm going to show you 6 ways that you can activate your inner healer. This is going to be powerful information that you're going to be able to apply immediately. Did you know that you can reverse aging on demand? Did you know that you can rebalance your hormones in minutes, not in months? And did you know you can heal every cell, organ, tissue, and system in your body simultaneously? In fact, that's the only way that you can heal them, is in unison all together. I know it sounds hard to believe, but health doesn't have to be complicated, overwhelming, or expensive to get rapid, safe, and permanent results. And I know it sounds crazy because we've heard it takes forever, costs lots of money, and you must take tons of supplements. Today, I'm going to show you how to get even better results in less time while improving your health like never before. And pay attention, because what you'll learn today is going to be powerful. And you'll learn how Faisal lost 19 pounds and no longer has bloating or hot flashes in 6 weeks. She literally looks like her daughter in this picture because of the transformation that took place. You'll learn how Suk lost 66.2 pounds, got off of his diabetes and blood pressure medications in 10 weeks. You'll learn how Michael stopped taking 10 Tylenol per day, lost 58.4 pounds, all in 10 weeks, all without supplements, lab testing, or intense exercise. As Tim mentioned, my name's Sachin Patel, is my lovely wife, Deepa. And the reason I live each and every day to the fullest is my son, Devin, who's 11 now. So my goal is to leave a better future for him and all of your children and grandchildren. My story starts in 1997 when my girlfriend at the time's friend called me skinny. And looking back, I was actually at a healthy weight, but these words scarred me and led me on this downward spiral of just doing whatever it took to gain as much weight as I possibly could so I'd never be called heavy. I went from 140 pounds or so all the way up to 185 pounds. And my goal was to get to 200 because I never wanted to hear those words ever again. At age 32, after I got married, you can see a picture of me here. I was about 185 pounds. And now this is me at age 44, totally transformed. And in fact, based on recent blood work I had, I've reversed my biological age by about 4 years. So this is entirely possible for me and therefore entirely possible for you. I'm going to share this formula today. Functional medicine, positive mindset, wearable technology, and self-love truly transformed my life. And that's why I'm going to share this with you today. I've written a book called Perfect Practice. I have a podcast by the same name. I'm an award-winning clinician. We run an award-winning business. We've built orphanages, schools, and food banks. And I'm also an award-winning father and soon to be the CEO of Canada's first publicly traded longevity company. Now, in the next few minutes, I want to show you a revolutionary approach that we've spent the last 3 years developing. So pay close attention because this literally could change everything for you, but more importantly, it could change everything for someone that you love and deeply care about. I'm going to share with you the 6 rights to activate your inner healer so that you can create sustainable health practices, rapid measurable changes, and a living legacy of health. Most importantly, I'm going to show you how you can become your own best doctor. This is the $1 trillion secret that Tim mentioned. And all this so that you can finally get to the root cause of what ails you and reverse any condition on demand. You can reduce the risk of hospitalization from COVID. Right now, the top 5 reasons for COVID hospitalization are 100% preventable and 100% reversible using what I'm going to share with you today. And you can better leverage your time, money, and efforts, and easily, depending on how old you are, add 1 to 25 quality years to your life. A fun fact is if you lived 1% longer, that'd be about 280 days. And I know we all know someone who lived an extra 280 days so they could be around a little bit longer. So we can give them one more hug or one more kiss or have one more conversation. And at some point that will be us. And I want to show you how to extend your life in a proven way starting today. So I know you're probably thinking, I've tried everything. Being healthy is hard. I've already spent so much money and nothing seems to work. Getting healthy takes years. I don't want to take any more supplements. You should see the garbage bags that people bring into our office. I've spent thousands on testing. I don't want to starve myself. I don't want to take drugs or hormone replacement medications. And my body's been like this for years and it won't budge. You know, we worked with over 5,000 clients and we hear almost all of these things on a weekly basis. But most importantly, people think being healthy is expensive. And maybe this might be hitting home for some of you, but some of you might be in a position where you might think that one more program and my spouse is going to kill me. So I want you to suspend all your limiting beliefs and hear me out. If you're ready to become the most productive, creative, energetic, and healthy version of you, then let's go through these 6 rights. But sit back and enjoy. I've actually created an extended guide of what I'm going to share with you that goes into more detail so you don't have to write anything down. Number 1, mind right. So why do we need to get our mind right? Well, first of all, our mind is a 5-dimensional printer. It prints our reality. Our most persistent thoughts become our reality. Where the mind goes, the body follows. And we all know that thoughts become things. Some tips to get your mind right. 1 is to find your community. So being in Genius Network helps us shift every single month that we connect into the right mindset. You want to optimize your environment because we know, as Benjamin Hardy would say, that willpower doesn't work. And we have to be sold on ourselves before we can be sold on anything else. I want you to stop watching the news, especially right now, mindfulness, meditation, and spend more time in nature. These are ways that you can optimize your mindset. Number two, I want you to breathe right. This is very overlooked, low-hanging fruit. So why breathe right? Well, first of all, it normalizes your blood pressure, which is the number one cause of a hospitalization right now. Number two, it reduces the stress response. So we can actually modulate the stress response, not just based on how we think, but actually how we breathe. It also improves lymphatic drainage. Almost all disease starts in the body sewage system, which is the lymphatic system. It also enhances creativity. Believe it or not, breathing correctly improves creativity. You will also wake up more refreshed. And a few tips to breathe right. One is you want to have proper oral posture. Your tongue should be in the correct position in your mouth in order to optimize your breathing. 3/4 of the tongue should be at the roof of the mouth with the tip of the tongue just behind the front teeth, gently positioned. Your tongue is actually a postural muscle. It will relax the muscles in the back of your neck and shoulders because it actually holds the front of your head up. So that positioning of the tongue will force you to breathe through your nose. Nasal breathing has many countless benefits, which you'll learn more about in the videos I'm going to send to you. And one way to ensure that you breathe through the nose is by taping your mouth closed at night. This might sound strange or might sound really weird, but trust me, it works. It can be transformational. We have so much data and evidence to prove this. Number three is I want you to light right. And what does that mean? Why should we light right? Well, we get deeper sleep when we expose ourselves to the right type of lighting. It lowers our cortisol. Believe it or not, artificial lighting at certain color temperatures will raise our cortisol. It increases dopamine when we get sunlight, especially in the morning. We improve our immune health by things like vitamin D production and also by enhancing melatonin production. It also helps us balance our hormones. And I'll show you in just a moment how to do that. So here's a diagram that shows the rhythm of melatonin and cortisol. So many of us think of melatonin and we think of a sleep hormone. In fact, melatonin is your most important immunomodulating hormone. So if you want to improve immune function, you want to increase melatonin production, not just take it, but you want to improve production. And the way we improve melatonin production is by lowering cortisol, but also by exposing ourselves to complete or as much darkness as possible. And natural lighting, such as candle lighting, red lighting, or even campfires will not decrease melatonin production. Artificial lighting and overhead lighting will decrease it by up to 40%. Cortisol is another hormone that's driven by the rising and setting of the sun. Cortisol is highest in the morning. And so getting sunlight in the morning is so important to jumpstart our body. And sunlight in the morning also increases dopamine. So you want to get morning sunlight, turn off overhead lighting in the evening after the sun goes down and use uplighting instead. Use red bulbs in the evening and wear blue and green blockers after sunset. And you could definitely connect with Dave Asprey on this. Number four is move right. Why move right? Better mood, improves lymphatic drainage, enhances creativity, better balance, fewer injuries, and a deeper appreciation of our physical body. We were meant to move. You can ask Whitney Jones how well we were meant to move. Joyful movement is what you want to do. You want to pick activities that you love doing. This morning, my wife and I went on a beautiful bike ride because I love this time of year. And we just spent time in nature, breathing in the fresh air, soaking in the sun. You want to stack activities with being in the sun, and you want to move throughout the day. So move every time we have a break, get up and move around and tune into your breath. You're only as good as your breath. Just like when you exercise, you're only as good as your form. However, when you move, you're only really as good as how well you're breathing. So make sure you're breathing correctly. Number five, sleep right. Why sleep right? Better cognition, creativity, fewer cravings, less belly fat, more energy, better detox, and deeper healing. When you don't sleep right, you will feel hungry all the time and you will never feel satisfied thanks to two hormones, ghrelin and leptin. So sleeping well will curb your appetites and you'll feel more satiated. Sleep tips. So first of all, know your chronotype. You can check out Michael Bruce's book, The Power of When. Be consistent with your sleep and wake cycle. No light or food 2 to 3 hours before bed. You could even incorporate the lights out challenge. No lighting after the sun goes down and watch your sleep transform in just a day or two. Sleep in complete darkness in a cool room and get an aura ring to track your actual sleep metrics so you can see if your most powerful healing tool, sleeping, is actually giving you the healing powers that it needs. Number 6, really quick, digest. Better immune health, improve nutrient absorption, less need for supplements, less chronic inflammation. You'll eat the right amount and no more stinky farts. Digestion tips. Choose your food, your feelings, and the timing of your meals appropriately. Chew each bite, chill out, cherish each meal, check your stool daily and annually. This will be transformational for your overall health. So in review, the 6 rights: mind right, breathe right, light right, move right, sleep right, digest right, so you can age like this beautiful human being that we all love and care about, Mr. Joel Weldon. And you could be skiing and you could be doing all the fun things that life has to offer at any age. I promise you that these 6 rights will never steer you wrong, and they are available to you in this very moment and from this very moment forward. These are life skills that will last you a lifetime. My gift to you, and Eunice and the team will share this with you, is a guide that goes deeper into each of these topics so that you can dive in and learn more and share with your family. I invite you all to love yourself back to life. I love you. And here's to your highest, happiest, and wholest healing. Thank you.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there.
All right, well, Timothy, you're going to run the Q&A, or should I do that? You're on mute, sir.
Yes, I can pick off those that are online, but you go ahead.
Perfect. Well, let's look here in the room. Yeah. Pardon me. Joel Weldon is going to come up, Sachin, and Sachin, such a pleasure to have you with us today, my man. Here's Joel to let you know how that all went from his perspective, which is the only and right perspective.
Well, congratulations. We don't have enough time to tell you all the wonderful things that you did, but it's important as you listen, these feedbacks are really for you as part of the audience. So when you make a presentation, so what worked so well in this message that Sachin gave us? First of all, the introduction. You were all prepared for what he was going to talk about, that you can heal yourself, that your body is in your control. And that happened before he said his first words. How important is your introduction to set up your audience before you say hello? And then it was very clear that we're going to be the doctor of the future, which is us. The visuals, you had 79 slides in this. I don't think anybody in the room would imagine that because you use them so effectively. And then with the technical support that we had from Gina, we had a split screen so we could see your beautiful smile and face. And that's what's so important when you're in a live audience like this. As I'm looking at our audience, we are connecting with our eyes. When you stay in a small box like that, you don't have that connection. So don't ever open an ordinary Zoom presentation with slides. Open with you looking at your audience, at least for 45 or 60 seconds, then share your screen. But the way you did that, Gina, was terrific. So we had Sachin and we had those visuals. Great job at that. And it was so clear. You told us about those 6 rights, and at 3 minutes and 28 seconds, we were already into it. And then he did something that happened at one of our breakout sessions here in the room. He gave you your objections. He articulated everything that you might be thinking about this not working. And that's what you need to think of doing. Every time you're making a presentation, if you could articulate the thoughts going through your audience's mind, and I was watching us, we were nodding our heads. I had the peanuts at the break. I shouldn't have done that. The 6 points were so good. Mind right, breathe, light, move, sleep, digest. Easy to remember. How easy are the points you're asking your audience to remember? You told us how we can heal ourselves, and you showed us how to make a great 10-minute talk. Here in this audience, let's give them one more hand and wave your hands virtually for a wonderful job, Sachin. Michael.
When they give you peanuts, make peanut butter.
Lemons.
All right. Are there any questions, first of all, here in the room? And if not, let's go online.
Okay, we've got a couple, Michael. Actually, Daryl Sutherland, if you'd be prepared to ask your question in just a minute. But Mark Hanf asks, how does one get a test for biological age?
All right, great question. Actually, the company that we use is based out of Canada, and it's called Age Rate. So it's a blood test, and what they do is they hook up this little novel device that draws the blood from you, doesn't require a phlebotomist, which is pretty cool. And then that gets put into their basically their interpretation system, which looks at methylation. And methylation is a marker for overall health and wellness, but it also indicates how gracefully we're aging. And it's affordable enough that it can be done quarterly. It's about $250 Canadian, which is like $5 US. And it allows you to identify exactly what, what areas of your health you need to improve and optimize, and what your nutrient status is as well.
Thank you. Daryl Sutherland's going to ask his question in a second, but I'm just looking in the chat. Evan Carmichael, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Sachin, or not. He only has over 3 million followers on YouTube, but he wrote, "This is epic stuff, Sachin." Joe Clark, wow. Susan Gilbert, amazing, Sachin. Daniel Linares, awesome stuff, Sachin. And Jim Dew, amazing. One of the best 10-minute talks this year. So congratulations. But go ahead, Daryl. You've got a question or a comment. Daryl Sutherland?
Yeah. Okay. Here I'm back. Yeah, I know I had a comment on there a year ago when James Nestor gave his talk on Breathe. It was just the right thing for me at the right time. I was doing a tremendous amount of work in not just training physically, but really trying to understand how to get the ultimate sleep. We spend our just tremendous amounts of time being experts at everything except how to sleep, which is probably the single greatest block time that you have throughout the day. And that one methodology of taping your mouth closed and using a mute to keep your nasal passages open, and then carrying that into the next morning when I'm out on my hikes and training throughout the day, has just been, like I said, the single greatest thing I've done in my life. The amount of energy I have every day, how I show up every day. And so I just wanted to say that I really appreciate Sachin putting that in his talk here about that particular technique has been so revolutionary for me and so many people I've been teaching that to, that it was wonderful to see that in there. And I just felt compelled to say something about it because it's been such a game changer in my life. So there you go. Appreciate you, Sachin.
Thank you. You gave me goosebumps. I appreciate that.
He has a tendency of giving people goosebumps. Actually, Joel Weldon said something here. It's like, so are you saying, Sachin, that LED bulbs are no bueno?
So if you are going to use LED bulbs, there are what we call flicker-free LED bulbs. So what's interesting about LED bulbs is they're constantly turning on and off. So if we look at light as information, it's actually, we're only getting part of the information. It's almost like processed food. So LED lights are like the processed food or junk food equivalent to our diet. And so if we think about the sun is not flickering. The sun is a constant source of lighting. And the sun has a full spectrum that it emits light within. And so without getting too far into the weeds here, tungsten bulbs are the best. Those are optimal. And the direction of lighting also makes a difference. So the sun moves from one position to the other throughout the day, and that actually hits a different part of our retina. So in the evenings, we want lighting coming from a downward source upwards, hitting the top of our retina, signaling to our brain that it's time to wind down. In nature, that would be a fire. And a fire starts off as yellow, then orange, and then turns red. And this transition from a cooler temperature to a warmer temperature actually activates our ability to release and unleash melatonin. So moonlight, candlelight, and firelight do not disrupt melatonin. And melatonin is, in fact, one of our most important, as I said, immunomodulating hormones. You could drive past an apartment building and know who's going to have cancer in the next 10 years just by the color of the lights coming out of their home.
Oh. It was such a good question. I wondered if that came from Jenny, and it actually did. So thank you, Jenny. Now, one more online, Michael, if we can, the amazing Gordy Ball. Now get ready for this question. This is going to be good. Go ahead.
How did you know, Timothy? Well, before I ask my question, I just want to honor you, Sachin. You're just, for those of you that don't know, Sachin's been just a very powerful force in mine and my family's life. He's helped us heal, and I lost about 25 pounds in working with him in 10 weeks. So just want to give props for that. And it's an honor because him and I are doing some really cool stuff that he alluded to in his presentation, but he'll share more with you. But my question, Sachin, for you is, during the break, there was a little bit of conversation around the vaccine, and, some of us are obviously not getting it and some of us are getting it. For those that are getting it or have gotten it, I know there is some, side effects around like the spike proteins and myocarditis. So for those, what would you recommend to mitigate some of that stuff? And then for those of us that are not getting it, how true is it that if we do get COVID, it's much more severe? And if that is true, how would you recommend navigating that and mitigating, a potential bad COVID case? So anything that you can share around that would be super helpful.
Oh, way to load the question up there. I love it. So here, I'll give you my honest answer. And I think this is the most honest answer I can give. The reality is we don't know. We don't know what the implications are long-term. And we don't know what the implications are for those that are vaccinated and those that get COVID who are unvaccinated. And I've seen, just from my perspective and the people that reach out to me, I've seen people get COVID and have major long hauler issues. And I've seen people get the vaccine and have issues. One thing I will say that's important for all of us to evaluate and assess, if you haven't done this already, I would get a genomic test done. The DNA company has a very powerful test. And based on the reports they can actually generate an immune report for you. And that report will actually tell you your genetic response or your genetic susceptibility to viral replication. And I know Mansoor is going to talk about this. So I think that's like a really good thing for all of us to have done. The thing I love about genetic testing is the results never change. You can change the outcome, but the results of that test will never change. So it's one of those tests that will have lifetime value for you. One big thing with COVID is the cytokine response. And cytokines are essentially messengers that signal our body to go into a basically uncontrollable inflammatory response. And there's ways that you can curb that. And certainly Dr. Danis can probably speak to this and add value to this conversation. But quercetin, melatonin is actually one of your most important modulators for your immune system, and supplementally can be taken. S-acetylglutathione, vitamin C. These are things that I take on a daily and regular basis. What's cool about knowing your genomics as well is that you're not constantly changing your protocols with the changing of the wind or the change of the tide. You're just doing what's right for your body, which is what I believe in, right? I think that what supplements we take, what foods we eat, how much we exercise, the type of exercise, all of those things are very bio-individual for each of us. And I think all of us in this group have the resources and the foresight to know that and can actually action that. So if I were saying this to a group of people that didn't have the financial means, then it might fall on deaf ears, but all of us have the $400 to get genetically tested to know what is going to be best for us. So I hope that answers your question. And yes, vitamin D, sorry, I wasn't prepared. I have a list of things, and maybe I'll put that in the chat in terms of what people can do to modulate or modify their risks.
Timothy, I'm going to jump in here, and we have 5 minutes, and we're at the point of the day where the timing really matters a lot. It always matters, but it matters more at this moment. Sachin, great to see you, my man. And here's one question in the 5 minutes we have. You remember Sean Stevenson talking about the key to confidence being self-care. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering the bridge you would describe between everything you talked about at the level of physiology and metabolic function, those kinds of things, and positive mindset, confidence, I'm personally curious, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, about, emotional eating, those kinds of things. I mean, where does this level of self-care become something that nourishes and really bolsters, mindset, conviction, and just the kind of conviction that we were talking about earlier with Whitney?
Yeah. So here, a wonderful question, Michael, and thank you for asking. So
yeah,
the body is two things. I mean, we are two things. We are just like our phones. Our phones are hardware, the screen, the cameras, the chips and everything that drive it. But the phone is also software. And Steve Jobs said this many years ago in an interview, that one of the areas that Apple or any company can have a massive advantage over any other company is not in the hardware, right? So if you compare the hardware of a Samsung phone versus an iPhone, it's not much different. Might be a few percentage points different, but the software can be radically different. And that's where you can get 10, 50, 100,000x in terms of ROI. So I always focus on hardware first. That's why mindset was number one, because our body is literally like the way we think and how we interpret our environment based on our values, beliefs, and past experiences is what tells our body what to do. Where the mind goes, the body will always follow. And a big thing that we need to do is go back to why we feel a certain way. So one of the reasons people will emotionally eat is because that was the only thing that would shut them up when they were crying. And a lot of this could be pre-verbal trauma. So think about a child. When the baby cries, the first thing parents do is they feed it. And so then the baby thinks, oh, if I want to feel loved, or people that love me, what they do is they feed me. So then there's a pre-verbal association with food and calming the nervous system down. This also happens when people are sick. What happens when a child is sick, right? The mom starts preparing all of their favorite foods. What happens when somebody doesn't feel well? The mom or dad or family members start preparing their favorite foods. What happens when they celebrate? They go eat at their favorite restaurant, or they get their favorite meals. So when we are at the highs of highs and lows of lows, we are often turning to foods that may be, unfortunately sabotaging our best health. So look to where food may have been a source of comfort in childhood growing up. And it wasn't intentional, right? Like, I don't think any of our parents were trying to sabotage us, but if we eat under stress, then it's likely associated to something emotional.
Okay, I hope you found that video awesome and useful. So if you want to get a free copy of my book, I want you to click here. And if you want to watch some more videos that'll be useful and awesome, click here. Go ahead. They're over here. Do it now. Come on. Thank you. Watch them.